So today I'm doing a 100,000 mile service on this hybrid. It's a Toyota Camry with a 2.4 liter engine. So we've replaced the coolant already. It's a big thing to do at 100,000 miles. And then we've also got to replace the differential fluid. So with this, they're really specific on it being ATFWS, world standard. So we've got 4 quarts of that, and it goes in a lot like you would on a transfer case or even a front-wheel drive manual transmission. When I say that, it's because it's got a fill plug and a drain plug. It's really a simple process, but one thing that's not simple is the transmission on these things. It's not just a transmission, it's also a generator, a starter motor. I mean, it just does everything. It's like a transfer case in that it has power being captured and put back in. You know, it splits it 2 different ways. And so that's what they call it, as a power splitting device. Because if you were to say the C, because of the planetary gears, all this stuff in it, it's like an automatic transmission, but you wouldn't say the transfer case, generator, starter. I mean, it does so many different things, so they just simplify it by calling it a power splitting device. So that's what we'll refer to it as from here on out. So I've got a clean jug. Look inside, it's just nice and clean. We're going to go ahead and add the WS to this. You can use a suction gun. I like to use a white jug so you can make sure that it's clean and empty and good. And we're going to create a high pressure zone over the top of the fluid, and then we'll have a means of escape for the fluid to go out, a hose that goes from the bottom up into the into the power split device, PSD I believe they call it. Anyway, it takes just a little less than 4 quarts, and 4 quarts is a gallon. So using a gallon jug is a great way to do this. It saves you from having to fill up your suction gun or push gun 8 times. A lot of them only take half a quart, and so if you're going to do 4 quarts, it's just a pain. This is a much simpler way if you have an air compressor and a jug to put it in. So you can see this is really light red, really runny type transmission fluid. Here's what it says on the back of the bottle. You're welcome to take a look at that. Pause the video if you want to read it thoroughly. So all we have here is a clear hose so that I can monitor what's going on. It's got a hole in the top. I'll wrap a rag around that to maintain pressure. And then I've got a smaller hose if needed. Oftentimes I'll just yank it out. But we'll just take this and we'll drain the fluid through the drain. I'll show you where that is, and then I'll show you how I fill it using compressed air. It's easy to identify the oil pan, so we'll just start here for reference. So we've got the engine oil pan, the exhaust, and then the bottom of the power splitting device, or where a transmission would be. So this plug here is for the coolant that cools the inverter, and then they call it an inverter instead of an electric motor because it also takes power from the drivetrain and puts it back in. Anyway, you got a big electric motor in here, and it's got its own coolant that comes out through there. This is the drain for the differential transmission fluid, and then the filler plug for it is up by the CV axle right here. I'll get a light on that and see if we can show that a little better. This is where the fluid is checked and where the fluid goes in. This is where the fluid comes out. So we'll bring the camera around here. This is the new camera. Kind of stupid for doing transmission fluid with it, but in order to get the plug out, you need a 10mm Allen socket or an Allen wrench, 10mm. And these are really stuck, so I've got a long one. I've already cracked these free just because I didn't want to cuss on camera. So go ahead and pull that out. Now this should be changed every 30,000 miles by the book. A lot of people do it 50,000. I'd say just do it 30. You don't want to mess with this. You don't want to have to replace this unit. It's going to make a bunch of garbly noise. That's what it looks like coming out. If you pull the filler plug, it'll drain faster. You don't necessarily want that. And the reason why is this stuff's just really runny and messy and splashy, and it's just generally a pain. So I get the pan so that the catch hole is where it's falling in almost directly. So we'll go ahead and drain that out. I'm gonna get my camera out of the way before something bad happens, but it should be about 4 quarts coming out. So I've got the drain plug screwed back in there. We're going to go ahead and torque that down tight enough to not fall out, but you don't want to strip the case. You really don't want to strip the case. It doesn't have to be super tight. It's like you get some of these oil change guys that are brand new to the job. They put the oil filter on hand tight. I'm doing air quotations, can you see them? Hand tight, and it's just ridiculously tight. You don't have to over tighten it, it'll stay in. It's not going to fall out. Make sure you get your washer in there, of course. No big deal. Next we're going to bring in the air support. Here's your filler hole. So you need to get the vehicle raised on jack stands. Get it up and level, because that's how you're going to get your level right. Otherwise you're going to be a little bit too low. So I've got the filler plug pulled out. We're going to get the air and filler hose in there. All this is we got a drain pan over here. We've got the filler jug here. I've got a sprayer from Harbor Freight hooked up to the air compressor. On the back of this, I've drilled a hole and I've stuck in it you don't have to stick anything in. This was overcomplicated when I did this. You just need a hole in the back of the handle near the top so that you're not going to get into the fluid. What this does is I'm spraying into the curve of the handle, and that way it kind of gets the air swirling or doing anything except for going straight in. You don't want it to be right here spraying down into the fluid, or else it's just going to spray it all over and risk coming out here more. So I've got this hose up into the filler hole. You've seen that. So I take a rag, wrap it around here. The drain pan's just to catch the extra because it's going to spill over a little bit. So I've got my hose down in the bottom of the fluid. I've got it up into the power splitting device. And so we'll pressurize it slowly, make sure we don't blow out of the hole. Sometimes these things aren't vented, these things are not vented very well. So sometimes it'll blow your hose out. So I've got a little bit of spray back. I'm getting some fluid draining out the back side of this here, so I'm going to try to change my angle a little. If you just put a hole in the back of this, it's fine. You don't have to go putting some master cylinder plug and then drill a hole in that for it being tough. It doesn't matter. See the fluid going up and in. It just takes a little time. Take a break, swing the jug, see how much we got left. We got about half a quart left in there. And we also watch on the hose. You can see that slip down there like that. You want to watch and see, because if it's full, it's just going to back drain into your container. So, until it's not full yet. I'm almost out of fluid. I can see that my hose is flashing. You can also see that I'm draining out from the power splitting device. So I think we're done. I'm going to hit this one more time for good measure. Be done with it. Blowing a lot of air into it, it doesn't really like it. It's going to spit your fluid out. I'm going to go quickly across the top of the exhaust so that the owner doesn't have to smell that. I'm going to take my pinky, wipe it off. It's already clean. These are brand new gloves, but just good habits. Stick your pinky in there. Even the nozzle of this will probably get in there better, huh? Stick the nozzle in just a little bit. You can see that we're into the fluid really well. So it's all full, so we'll take our drain plug, our filler plug. There's two plugs, they're the same dang thing. Just one's an indoor and one's an outdoor. We're going to go back up to our filler hole. I'm going to kiss it up there. I look and see that my washer's there. No grease monkeys has crushed the washer to nothing, so we're good to reuse it. As long as you're gentle with them, you're fine. But the minute somebody starts torquing them down like some kind of ape, it'll crush them, and then you got to replace it the next time. Some guy that's a noob just oh no, I can't handle a leak, so instead of having a leak, you've got some crushed washer or stripped out hole, or you know, something way worse than just a simple leak, you know. There we go. So that's how you do it. Toyota Camry hybrid transmission fluid change. I think that's what we're going to call the video, because if nobody's going to search for a power splitting device thing, they're going to look for differential fluid change or transmission fluid change or something like that. No PSD searches. PTSD and PSD sound a lot alike. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to click thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. Come play with me. It's fun.